What's up, guys? It's the Real Swim Cheesy back at it, and oh my, season 2 just got finished, and season three's been confirmed. So of course, hey, I'm very hyped. Season 2 finished very strong with Asuka. I kind of thought that was gonna be one of the last characters. It's funny, right? Because I also thought Testament was gonna be another character later down the line, and then they were also the one to finish the season 1. So I guess we just gotta expect the unexpected for these end of the season characters. But regardless, guys, we kind of talked about today is just who I think is going to be in season 3, kind of going over everything we know this far. If you've seen some of my previous videos about this, kind of already things, but we'll still go down and kind of explain everything for people who haven't, or just to give you a refresher. And, as you can see, I've got little circles here and kind of colors to help explain exactly what we know about the character or why I think they're likely. So just kind of go down it real quick, and I'll have it in the bottom left corner for you to check if you forget. But basically, red is, that they've gotten a redesign, which is shown to be the most likely indicator that a character gets in. Makes sense. And that's kind of how I rank these. It's just literally based on what we've seen be the most driving fact. Orange is being seen in the story. Yellow is being named. Name drops are always good. Especially because green exists, which is mentioned. We've seen a lot of characters mentioned, so when one finally gets named, it's kind of a big deal. Light blue's data mined voice lines, dark blue's data mined model, and then the purple is popularity polls that, 4 to 5 regions being most of them. Pink is 2 to 3 regions, and the kind of light pink is 1 region, and then gray is other, which we'll go into. That's kind of a case-by-case basis, but yeah, let's just get into it and see who we're thinking will get into first season 3. And first up has to be Johnny. And while I should, he doesn't have the most circles, and I should trust in the circles, especially after season 2. I mean, Sin had the most, followed by Delilah, followed by Asuka, and all of them got in, so, I should trust. But to be fair, it has recently been leaked that not only Johnny's model, which was leaked a little bit ago, but also his treasure hunt super has, unique things for each character, which is really cool. But for me, we've seen past models leaked, but for them to go that far is literally, make parts of his super already for individual characters, that already screams to me that they're already well in production, this character, and that he's already very likely in, right? Makes sense. The next has to be Slayer. I mean, Slayer's already been name-dropped twice.
Come, let us visit Lord Slayer together. Could he be connected to Lord Slayer?
Of course, he also has voice lines data mined. I mean, he's a very popular character. We've literally been waiting for him since season 1, but I think now would be a good time because I imagine that they're going to do another story part, as we'll kind of get into with Dizzy and Elfel. We've seen them really talk about kind of that group of Dizzy and Elfel, and then also the Nagoriyuki, Slayer, kind of Zato group. So we'll see what happens for sure, but I feel like this has to be the season, right? They can't pull our leg forever, right? And again, another story makes sense. We know they want to continue Happy Chaos and kind of finish off that story, so I wouldn't be surprised if they added that at least. And following that up is Dizzy. Dizzy got a name drop in the Bridget arcade, which was kind of out of nowhere.
Come visit Illyria if you need anything. Dizzy will be happy to see you too.
So yeah, definitely not something I expected when doing the Bridget level 9 or just her arcade, but it was really cool to see nonetheless. And of course, we've seen her model a little bit in the story, kind of just off to the side. It just seems like perfect time. And again, following the story, we know that there's probably going to be some Nagoriyuki with Slayer and Zato in them. But also, we know there's a new king/queen of Illyria that's non-human. And I mean, really the only people that could be are Dizzy, Elfelt, and Ram, who I think it's most likely Ram, but we also know there's some things that they want to finish with Kai's story, because, I mean, we all have our theories, and I mean, I feel like they're the correct theories on how Kai got his gear powers, but they also say that they want to kind of round out that story, and, it just seems like it would finally be time, especially if they are adding another story, to show her off, add her the story, and then kind of give her that, Jacko Sin slot, where, we see her in the story, and it's, super obvious that she's gonna get in, right? But also following her, and I know I didn't follow the circles as well, only 2 circles, but Elfelt I feel like also has a really good shot because it just feels like you can't go a season without her kind of getting mentioned or teased a little bit. I mean, when the game came out, we first had that taunt where Ram is like, oh, Bedman and Elfel taught me that. Look at Bedman, he got in. And then recently we had Sin's Arcade where she was directly name dropped.
It seems Elfel took care of it on your behalf. She was worried about you.
So, I mean, hey, again, always a big deal when you get name dropped. And as well, she also got referenced in the Asuka arcade, which is also why I think she's pretty likely, on top of just, of course, being a well-known, popular character and things leading to us finally seeing her in this story. But, Asuka's obviously made his own kind of copy of himself, his own being in a sense. And we know that the two kind of references he took, or kind of the two inspirations he had, were the Valentines and the Flask experiment.
The Valentine sisters, formed by the universal will, were perfect beings. I hadn't seen such immaculate synthetic life since the Frasco specimen. So you wanted to try it for yourself.
So yeah, again, it just feels like the perfect time to add her into the story. Just makes a lot of sense, right? And as you kind of probably picked up from that clip as well, another character was referenced, that being Abba for the first time, which, hey, is a really big deal and really shows that she has a good shot of finally getting in. And, she was really, we saw it pop up on the popularity poll. She didn't really have too much pointing to her other than when you look at the homunculus tab in the GG world. It says, Abba's the only homunculus, ... so far, which makes me think we'd revisit it. And if Asuka's interested in kind of making people and, I mean, to be fair, well, I guess the clone Asukas could be homunculus, who knows, but it just seems like that's something that we might finally touch on and kind of delve into, and who better to kind of figure that out about than Abba herself, right? So she kind of went from that. She was definitely the person who, has had the biggest jump besides Elfel herself too. But she went from I was thinking maybe a wild card pick to I think she's pretty likely, which is pretty sick. But, while she is very likely, being mentioned is a big deal. And I put her above Jam just because it was more recent. But Jam was referenced literally in the exact same way. In that clip, as you saw, was taken from the Asuka Stage 1 Heart Loss route. And in the Jacko Stage 1 Heart Loss route, we also get reference to Jam.
A kung fu girl once told me, when in doubt, start throwing punches.
And hey, Asuka got in, and Asuka had his model also leaked at the beginning of the game, so I think Jam is still very likely. Honestly, I'm hoping Jam still gets in. It kind of feels like to me maybe they're going to replace Jam's spot with Abba, which I don't think most people would be upset about, but again, I feel like those two are really interchangeable right now. It's really just, they're literally just, they have about the same amount of leakage, so I feel like one of the two is going to get it. Maybe both. Hey, we can always pray, but again, we'll have to see how many characters they add. And the final one for likely is Venom. Well, I had him as a wild card pick, and I mean, I don't even, he's definitely just the lowest as the barrel for me in terms of characters that could get in that it wouldn't be a wild card pick, because he has been mentioned in the story. Zato's been oh, I had a dear friend. He was kind of talking about Venom. And again, if we do go kind of follow the Zato, Slayer, Nagoriyuki route, although he's not, he's being a baker and everything, it would kind of make sense that maybe we could visit him at some point. If Delilah's in the story, we could see kind of a little arc where maybe she goes and visits him to kind of try to gain some kind of closure. But yeah, I feel like he's still hanging on by a thread. He's got a little bit more than most characters going, but I don't know. If he gets in, I could see it, but I definitely don't think it's likely in any regard. But then, of course, that moves us on to a wild card picks, and I think Zappa has easily still got to be my top wild card pick. Basically, if you didn't know, and I'll link it down below because it still blows my mind that this is happening. There was an article released very early on when Strive came out after the story, and they were talking about 3 characters and what they've been up to. They talked about Testament, they talked about Bridget, and they talked about Zappa. So, hey, listen. 2 of the 3 so far, I mean, hey, it's a pretty good indicator. And both Testament and Bridget weren't really hinted at too much. We saw Testament in the credits, of course, but no name drops, no nothing. So, hey, I think Zappa could easily be the top wildcard pick, especially if they're following that. We'll have to see. Again, maybe Abba took that spot just, due to her popularity, especially over here in the West. I absolutely love her, but again, we'll have to see. Followed up by a, just guest character. Apparently, a lot of regions want a guest character, And I mean, they've done stuff with like Samurai Showdown. Of course, they made Dragon Ball. They've done Blaze Blue. And if they wanted to, create kind of like that cross of, we know there's multiple worlds, and they could easily make it so that like Ragnar could get in and then go back and whatever, right? But basically, I could see him still doing a guest character. I would kind of figure that'd be at like the way end, right? But again, we'll just have to see. And then finally, it'd have to be Holy Odor Soul. While Abba's really popular over here, we know Holy Odor Soul is really popular in Japan, so, I mean, if they want to appease that crowd, hey, absolutely, that could be a good character. And it would just be really cool, and again, with their whole kind of multiverse kind of stuff that they go in on, they could easily fit it into the story. So, yeah, and I think another big thing that's going to happen in Season 3, just because it's happening every season, and it just makes sense that they like adding, new characters and stuff, is, of course, a new character. And, we'll have to see if it's just a never-before-seen character, or, something like Gold Lewis, right? Or a known character before, like, the original Happy Chaos / Asuka. But, we'll just have to see. If it's something we've never seen before, they've teased out a werewolf character. We still don't really know. I mean, there's theories that it could be Giovanna. They've been really weird with Giovanna and kind of the lore and stuff, so that could be her. But again, new female werewolf. We know that Rachel Alucard has a male werewolf companion. Maybe Slayer now has a female werewolf companion. Who knows? And of course, if we're talking about homunculus, and they said, if the Asuka clones aren't the kind of new homunculus that they're referring to, hey, maybe we see a new homunculus character. Who knows? But if that's not the case, I think there are quite a few characters that have a good shot of finally getting in and being playable. And at the top of the list, not my personal favorite, but definitely the one that probably is the most likely, would have to be Vernon. I mean, there's that poster that says, make Vernon playable on the White House map. They've kind of like wanted him to be playable. It just seems like they wanted to be playable, but haven't had a good reason. So we'll have to see if he actually can fit into the story and do anything. But hey, can't count him out yet. Daryl, I think, is another person who's a really good shot. Again, being the third king of Illyria, and if we do kind of explore, whoever this new king / queen is, we might learn more about Leo, we might learn more about Daryl, and this might finally be Daryl's time to kind of come out and be playable, which I think a lot of people would be down for, finally having all the, three kings be playable. And, kind of the next one I'd have to talk about is definitely Ariel's, because, I mean, listen, hear me out, right? In Season 1, we got Happy Chaos, the original, that man, kind of one of the big bads, reformed in a way. Season 2, we got Asuka, that man, another big bad, kind of reformed in his own way. And Season 3, who's else is the big bad, right? The original, who's also kind of been reformed now that Happy Chaos has been taken out of her. Maybe we get some things with like her and Ram and Elfel being more motherly to them. We'll have to see, but especially with this being kind of Daisuke's last Guilty Gear game, it seems, and how he kind of wants to like hand down the story and stuff to other people, it'd make a lot of sense that we finally get these big bad characters in and just have them all finally be playable, because I mean, it would be crazy to have this Guilty Gear be the first and maybe only Guilty Gear where you could play as the original, the Universal Will, and that man. Like, it's pretty crazy to think. So again, I think we'll just have to see where this new story kind of leads us. Again, we could, maybe we're going to focus on the Kings more, and we focus on Daryl, maybe Vernon gets involved somehow, maybe we focus on kind of Elfelt and Ram and kind of that relationship, with their mother, the Universal Will, maybe, Delilah finds her, there's just a lot of avenues to take, so I definitely think she's got a shot, and I think it'd be really cool. Again, she had a fantastic design in Zerd, so again, we'll just have to see kind of where the story takes us, and I think that will give us some more hints as to her. But if we're also talking about big bads, and one of the people they named on their, who do you want in Guilty Gear list, Valentine I think would be a really cool one, especially again because we're talking about Valentine's kind of created beings. Valentine was like the original Valentine made, so it would definitely be cool to kind of see her come back. Again, there's nothing hinting, nothing teasing at it. It was just kind of a really interesting character that they put on there, and again, I could see him kind of fitting it into the story if they wanted, so just another character we'll have to see, in the new story if they lean or kind of point towards her at all. And finally, I think Fanny, I mean, yeah, she's fun. Another interesting one that they added to the, choose what character you wanted. So I don't think she has the best shot, and we know Faust is kind of in a weird place, so maybe we'll follow Faust a bit. Maybe it's Fanny or someone that kind of brings them a bit back to normal, right? So again, I don't know, but I think Fanny at least has like a decent shot. I mean, she's at the bottom for that. And again, the new character could be anyone, right? It could be Erica, it could be April, right? So no one's out of the picture, but I just think those are definitely the most likely. So yeah, I think those all characters have, you know, a decent shot, but I also wanted to talk about, like I was kind of mentioning, that poll that they had where you could like kind of vote if you wanted to see a character in, and kind of all of the other characters on that list. So for, you know, kind of thread of hope to something at least kind of holding them on has to be Yoon. She got like one reason to vote on her for the popularity poll, so I mean, maybe, you know, again, we could see her in the story, and I don't know if Jam or someone gets in the story, or I don't know. She's not out of the question, right? And same kind of for our boy Azuma over here, who has, you know, his stage literally as a map. So it'd be really cool if we kind of went and visited them, especially if we are kind of going to like the coexistence of human and gears. So we might see him at the very least, but again, hanging on by a thread, could be another new character that we see, right? And then we also have some extremely doubtful characters, just again, really nothing hinting at them at all, unfortunately. And kind of the known characters, right, is at the top I put Raven. Raven's just kind of a wanderer, so I mean, you could fit him into the story however you want, really, but again, I just don't see it happening. Answer, maybe. We are going to follow kind of Nago's story, so hey, if we see Answer in the story with a brand new outfit, I'm all for it, you know. And we've seen them bring back a lot of Zerd characters, which is why I have them two at the top for sure, but again, nothing currently really teasing at or hinting at Answer getting in anytime soon. Robocy behind him. Again, we've kind of seen one kind of XX character each time. So, I mean, Robocy's there, right? And it would definitely be quite the wild card / kind of out of left field pick, I think, for a lot of people to add him. So, just because how his meter system works. So, I think it'd be a really cool addition. But, again, I don't really think it's happening. Dr. Peregrine. I mean, yeah, I don't know. If we followed the Kings of Illyria and the coexistence, I mean, we might see him, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Same with, like, April, same with Erica. I mean, none of those people really seem like as much of fighters as the others. So, yeah, I mean, they were on there, you know, so it's not unlikely, right, that you could vote for them, but we'll just have to see. And then finally, I put Justice and Cliff. I put Justice a little bit higher than Cliff just because, again, if we try to go in that, you know, bring back past villains, hey, Justice is one of also the big bads, so it is possible, but I feel like both Cliff and Justice, people are just very content with never coming back, right? They're dead, let's just keep them dead, let's just move on. And I would definitely like to see some more from Cliff and Testament's relationship, maybe like a backflash or something. Just, you know, they've got a really cute dynamic going on, but we'll just have to see. And then finally, for kind of like interesting ones that they brought up that could maybe be, or maybe if they got more votes or something, they mentioned Dr. Baldhead, which we've already known that they've cut a lot of characters' movesets, so, I mean, they could make a whole character. I could see it using some of Faust's unused moves, so, yeah, it'll be interesting. And if we do follow Faust's story, maybe there's going to be a part where he has to, like, kind of confront his past, or kind of the, you know, side of him that he's trying to give up. We might see Dr. Baldhead there, so, yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't really know why he'd be added, but again, we'll have to see. Robocy Mark II. Basically, he's just like kind of a copy of other characters, so kind of think like an 11 from Street Fighter V or something. So they could give him his own outfit, but I feel like Venom and Robocy, you know, either together or whatever, just are way more likely. And I mean, maybe they do him as like a bonus character where, like, again, he's like random, right? But, you know, we'll have to see. And finally, Eddie. I mean, we might follow something, but it seems like Eddie and Zato are pretty tame and pretty together, so I don't really see that one happening. That's definitely the one on the list that I think is the least likely. But yeah, no, let me know what y'all think. That pretty much covers every character that even has like a glimmer of hope of getting in. I think it'll be really interesting to see new stages, new story mode, and just exactly how many characters they add. I feel like it's probably going to be 4 or 5, but hey, I'd love to see 6 or... Yeah, I feel like 6 is the limit, right? But, hey, the more the merrier, and there's so many cool characters that they could still add, and, hey, maybe if it does well enough, we could even still see a Season 4, but, again, we'll just have to see. But, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please try to upload a bit more. I got a few more plans on the way, but hope you all take care and love you a lot. So, hey, peace out.